Uncontrolled mediumship is when you have sensitivity more than the regular one to communicate well with the spirit and between a spirit and a human being, between the astral world and a human being. It is more than that. It is too sensitive or too open, and you do not control. You are vulnerable to get negative communication from those of the spiritual world, and you are too sensitive to get all kind of information, all kind of those who want to do something to communicate with you, whether spirits or personalities. Because uncontrolled personalities, the same happens with your own personalities. Once you are incarnate, you are attached to all of the personalities, each one of them representing one lifetime that you had. So you have a lifetime, you die, and that personality will stay with all the feelings, with all the traumas and everything, because the one who feels is the astral body, not the physical body. People do not understand why are you doing that, misjudge you, and you also don't know why it is happening. And it is happening because you don't have control over them. You don't have control over yourself. So that's why it is uncontrolled. If nothing is done, when a medium has the mediumship open, and nothing is done for that, or at least if they do not disconnect themselves from those emissions, or they cleanse themselves once in a while, they are risking to imbalance their nervous systems. Mediumship has always existed since the beginning of the world, let's say it. Since the beginning of human being in this planet, mediumship has always existed. And why? Why many people, many mediums, so far, since the beginning of our creation, so far, have suffered too much, have been abused, have been abandoned, have been mistreated, have been despised. Many families hide their loved ones because they are mediums, and they are ashamed of them. Many mediums, since the beginning, were sent to mental care hospitals. Many mediums ended up in a prison, went to prison. They were taken as crazy people. They were expelled from the cities, from the country because of that. Using mediumship to help with care, it has not been beautiful. It has been ugly. It has been despised, but that's okay if a medium uses that faculty to do black magic, to do evil to others, to do things because people want to make things happen that are not happening, and they go to somebody, to a sorcerer, who have the mental power, who have that mediumship ready, and they use on the contrary, they use to do evil to others, they use to get money. They degrade the faculty that is given to human beings or developed along the incarnation to help. So, but that's fine. And especially now. Now it is a kind of fashion. I want that, I cannot have, so I will do black magic. And don't get to believe that it is done only for poor people or people of places that are not involved in science. It's lie. Many rich people do that, politicians do that, or even people who want to have a role in a theater or movie industry, many go right away to black magic to do something. That can be done. That's fine. And then the consequences come, and nobody wants to face the consequences. And then they will believe it, they are victims, because they used a power that they had to help, they used on the contrary. And then the same one who did that before comes with the Down syndrome, and that's fine. It is a victim. He or she is a victim. So it is a question of spiritual consciousness. It is a question of understanding that we are here to help one another. Now we are going to a case study. Somebody who are doing a great job, and with her example and interviews, you will understand much more about what Dr. Lacerda said. Let's talk with Mrs. A.V.
Essa aqui é a minha filha mais nova, a caçula, a Suelen. Esse aqui é meu esposo, Aldenor.
You told us that when you were 3 years old, you start seeing monsters, and you were too afraid of them. You did not understand anything at all, but you always saw monsters in front of you, and they appeared to you anytime. And you talked to your parents, to your mother about that, and your mother was rush on you. She was very mad at you, and she said that if you repeated that story again, that she would beat you up. So you start seeing everything when you were 3, and your brother was 4 years old, and you count on him, you shared with him what you were seeing. He was also afraid, but he could not see. And you are from a poor family living in farm. At 3, in other words, it is somebody who came to start working very early. So it came from 3 because it was to get, for the child to get used to it. At the age of 3, I started seeing a lot of monsters, and I was very, very scared. My brother, 4 years old, listened to me, giving me support. I could not see other than a monster. And I'll take a little time to talk to you about that. I said to you that mediums work well with astral body. Also sensitive. But let's talk about astral body a little bit. The nature of astral body is magnetic. And it is unmaterial. It is magnetic. If a spirit, for example, doesn't have a hand because he lost the hand during a fight before dying, that hand can be rebuilt because the astral body, with the power of mind, and apometry works well with that. You rebuild the astral body of the person, and the spirit becomes so happy when they have their legs back, when they have their hands back. They don't know how to do, but when human and mediums help them, they get so happy. And everything is molded. However, everything that is great and can be done well in a positive way to help, it also can be done in a negative way. So the sorcerers and spirits from the other side, and from this side, human beings, they also use their mental power to abuse. They ask favors from spirits to do evil things. They don't want to do that. They start doing evil things to them, use them to do evil things. They transform them into monsters. It is one way. They don't know how to undo that. And they are in and out, asking and crying to have somebody helping them to redo that, to bring their astral body as it was. They come to human beings, they come to me, and when they know there is somebody who can see them, they beg that somebody to help them. But that 3-year-old child did not understand anything, but she knew that they always came like monsters. So I helped my brother, but later I understood that was a benefactor or benefactors acting through my opened mediumship. My brother was with mumps, which went down to his testicles, and it became very serious. And that was my first challenge. Another way for a child to start very early is because in many other lifetimes, that spirit with another personality evolved the mediumship or that faculty, and this time when the spirit had another personality on the physical world because of another incarnation, so the person is ready. A new incarnation of the spirit with that mission to help others through mediumship is ready because of practice. The person practiced that before. I walked on the streets, saw people very sick, their souls were sick, and suddenly saw them with no disease. I did not understand anything. I was disturbing. Another question for you. When did you start seeing spirits as people, not as monsters? And what did you feel before seeing them? I used to go to Catholic church, and in there I started seeing all the saints like humans. I saw them without their arms, their legs, and then they were with their arms and legs. I became a lot disturbed. 7 years old, she went to live in a city together with her brother. She was 7, and he was 8 years old to be educated. But their parents could not stay with them because they had to work in the farm. So they left the two children alone in that house during the week. And she was seeing everything. She was, it was not that bad. She could understand a little bit more. Look to what she said about her brother and the way she helped her brother. But she did not understand anything. She did not want to talk to her mother about anything because she was afraid that she could beat her, as she promised. And as she went to church, she did not say one word to anyone. The healing process she was doing without knowing she was doing, it was done by them who were using her sensitivity or open mediumship to help others. And little by little, she could understand how it was done until she got ready to start with. So somebody was helping those through her, using her mediumship to help. Her parents came once a week to pick them up to go to bring to the farm during the weekend and bring them back, or they would come alone to the city. And nothing has ever happened, nothing evil has ever happened to them, which means protection. She was, at that age, she was open to help. The mediumship was open, but somehow controlled. She did not understand, but somehow was controlled because she was too young and somebody was, her mentors, her benefactors, were helping her, not letting any evil one taking care of her. This is mission. A 7-year-old girl did not have anyone to tell her anything. She did not open her mouth to say something to anyone, afraid of her mother. And the mentors were using her mediumship positively to help others. And little by little she was understanding that, because she saw the monsters coming and then she saw them better. She was doing something. It was uncontrolled, but at the same time controlled, not by herself, but by her mentors. It was being used positively. I was 15 when I moved to Brasilia, and at the age of 21, I began studying all about the spirits. She was in another state, and then she moved to the capital of Brazil. She did not see anything. It was stopped. She liked that because everything was fine. Everything she had to do, she was doing, studying and doing everything. Then she got married. I was home one night breastfeeding my first daughter. She was 6 to 7 when suddenly I saw a female spirit on the wall, and I asked her, "What are you doing there?" She jumped on the floor, got very close to my ear and said, "Kill her because she's not your child." I said, "How am I going to kill my own daughter? Of course she's my daughter." She said, "No, she's not your daughter." I started doing what she commanded. Put her on bed, go and close the door. I did. Then I went back to my bed and started choking my daughter. I was not me. The neighbors heard my daughter crying very loud and knocked my door. The spirit said, "Don't open the door. Nobody is knocking." My husband arrived at the lobby of the building, heard the screams, and ran up the stairs. I was on the top of my daughter, almost killing her. Her face was purple, and the spirit was yelling, "Kill her! Kill her! She's not your daughter! Kill her!" My husband came in.
I did not know anything about mediumship, and that day when I got home from work by 9 p.m., saw my wife that way rolling from side to side, still unconscious, and my little daughter in the middle of all that, also rolling from side to side.
Husband, how did you react to your wife's uncontrolled mediumship?
I got shocked, scared to death, and concerned about my family. I wanted to get help from a friend who lived close and knew a lot about that, even afraid to leave them there and for the worst to happen. I went. My friend took the entity out of the place. My wife even tried to come back to normal.
Não falou nada no momento. E aí suspendeu. Aí ela volta ao normal. Eu vi que ela ficou assim um pouco cansada, né? Mas
And my child was okay.
Now you can see very well that she had uncontrolled mediumship. Before, she was very sensitive, it was open, but somebody was controlling it. But what happened to her daughter, she almost killed her daughter without understanding why, because though that one who influenced her took her brain, was in sympathy with her. She was open, very sensitive. She did not know how to control that. She did not understand anything because she never studied anything. She never heard from anyone about that. And then she was used. She was having that, talking to them, talking to anyone negatively, having negative communication. And she could have killed her own daughter. It was totally uncontrolled.
Then I remember that something similar happened to my cousin a couple of years before, and my child was okay. Entity, to me, that time, was something very strange. According to a medical doctor, she needed mental care because she was very aggressive sometimes. And very strange some other times, with no control over herself. Her husband asked us to bring her to John of God, the spiritual healer of Abadiana. When we got there, she became even worse, completely disturbed. She violently tried to throw chairs at people and took all her clothes off. John of God took the evil spirits away and asked her husband to take her to a spirit center for mediumship treatment. Otherwise, she would become mentally sick. Maybe that fact was a sign to prepare myself for my wife.
Eu nunca pensei disso acontecer na minha própria casa, né?
And after that you knew that what was going on, how did you handle that? Because once you have that, you have to do something. Because it can happen again. Open mediumship or uncontrolled mediumship, it happens without your control. You have no control over that. You have no spiritual education for that. You don't know how to do any of those things. You are candidate to be mentally disabled.
After that crisis, my wife, with a friend, went to a spirit center for help, and she was told that she had uncontrolled mediumship and that she needed urgent spiritual treatment, education, and development of mediumship, otherwise she would get crazy. I still did not want her to do that in the beginning, especially when some friends kept telling me that those things were not good. We had a lot of disagreements on that concern, but she started attending the spirit center anyway without my consent.
Ela tinha que trabalhar em cima dela para educar, para poder sair daquele estado.
So after the problem with your child, you have the decision to go and you went. You said you went with a friend.
I understood I was sick, so I looked for a spirit house for treatment. I began the development of my mediumship and the studies to learn the spiritual education, to understand the spirit's needs, and to learn how to deal with them.
Minha colega é muito humilde, ela é humilde e muito dedicada, entendeu? Mais do que eu, que chama Evanil.
And now we have our own institution, House of Love and Hope, where we are helping new mediums, people and spirits for more than 10 years.
Did your husband understand that you were a medium and that you needed help?
When I began to learn about the Spirit's knowledge, my husband did not understand my needs and what I was doing. We had fights because of his misjudgments. I was after pleasures, and I was not. 2 times a week, I left my 2 children sleeping to go to my spiritual classes in order to understand what was going on with me. I saw, for example, a man drunk on the streets and saw a lot of spirits getting out of his mouth.
Uncontrolled mediumship or uncontrolled animism, which means personality. Let's see the consequences that one can suffer with that. Madness, it may cause madness, mental disorders, depression. Of course, depression, when it has no apparent reason. We don't know where the reason is. It may be that. Anxiety, aggressiveness, panic syndrome, schizophrenia, when it comes to a state of, when it comes to abnormal state, abnormal behavior, exaggerated sensitivity, or else fears, anguish, persecution mania. These all happen to those who have uncontrolled mediumship or uncontrolled animism. It is as if it comes from spirits and it comes from personalities. When it happens, it's quite difficult. In other words, people will believe you are with the mental imbalances. You are risking to end up in a mental care hospital. Her son had a friend who had a horse, and the horse was sick, and they did not have money to pay for treatment. And the boy asked her son to ask her to help the horse. She did not understand what she could do, but the spirit mentors came to her and said, "Of course you can." And the other day, the horse came along to her house to stay in front of her house at the same time she did before. The third day, the horse went there on the same time alone, and she did the third time, and then the horse did not appear anymore. Was completely healed. You see? Have you ever helped someone spiritually in any other language? Tell us about any other example that you have about that.
Our son, second child, when he was 4 years, he had a very intense fever and had to be hospitalized in the intense care unit with the diagnosis of meningitis. By the time the physicians told me that I knew it was not meningitis, but they did not believe me, and my son had the wrong antibiotic for a couple of weeks without results. Then I heard a spirit doctor saying to me, "My daughter, tell the doctors that this is not the disease of your son. The bacteria they are looking for is in the urine system. Ask them to do the urine culture test on your son because the bacteria are there." Then I spoke to a female medical doctor about that, who listened to me calmly and asked me how I knew that. I told her everything and also said that a couple of times I had prayed and concentrated on his urine system, and clearly, as if I were inside him, I saw his bladder, very dark brown, but not the other organs. I knew that the bacteria were in his bladder. Humbly, that doctor provided the urine culture test, found the bacteria of septicemia, and provided a new medication for him. He got better and left the intensive care unit soon after. However, he stayed there for 35 days.
And thanks to God, that female doctor was humble enough to accept that. Otherwise, the boy had died. Did not die because she was there. He did not die because she was there taking care of him together with the spirit doctors.
Na rua, eu andando na rua e eu mentalizava uma pessoa que estava passando mal e eu mentalizava todos os órgãos da pessoa, entendeu? Aí eu ia vendo se estava claro, se estava escuro, se estava claro, se estava escuro. Quando eu via se no fígado eu via que estava marrom, ali eu não vi se estava a doença da pessoa.
After 35 days in intensive care unit, and you saw your little boy alive again. And you could see that your wife helped him. How did you react after that?
When my little boy was very sick and misdiagnosed, I did not get completely desperate first, because I already had a little bit of spiritual knowledge, and secondly, because my wife was there always helping him through the spiritual doctors, and she was very secure about his healing.
Meu marido não gostava muito. Quando ele descobriu que eu estava estudando mesmo a doutrina espírita, estava trabalhando, ele me pedia, reza por mim, faz trabalho para mim. Aí um dia eu falei assim...
Now my husband is okay with everything related to spiritual care and helps me somehow, helps himself, studied everything with care.
E hoje ele já trabalha na sala de desobsessão, com o irmão que trabalha na área das pessoas que usam droga.
He understands very well, and he is happy to see our last daughter also helping us. I became pregnant with my third child and never stopped doing the spiritual classes or the spiritual help through my mediumship. I always had to take baths both ways, did everything with dedication and never had any problem. On the contrary, I felt great with the spirit doctor. I assure you that many women who could not have babies were able to get pregnant and have their children. And many others come more and more for his treatment. This doctor also helps people with spine problems and other physical problems through machines he puts in their spiritual bodies that supply their physical bodies.
E no domingo tratamento físico e espiritual, e no domingo à noite eu trabalho na Casa de Amor e Esperança no Goiás.
If the problems of a human being has to do with the spirit, no, it doesn't matter how many treatments or with different medical doctors or anyone, it will not resolve the problem if the problem has to do, it is related to a spirit issue. Or if the problem of a human being is related to a personality, a negative resonance, or with problems with the spirit and so forth, it has to be helped on the right place.
de tratamento físico e espiritual, trabalho Dom Inácio, entendeu? Nas fichas, dando diagnóstico dos irmãozinhos encarnados, entendeu? Para fazer o tratamento na alma. Eles fazem o fichário e leva lá para dentro, para a sala, entrega o doutor Augusto, doutor Gilmar e a avó Maria.
Other than your husband helping you with your work, do you have any other one from your family?
Essa aqui é minha filha mais nova, a caçula, a Suelen. A Suelen me ajuda lá na Angolândia, no tratamento físico e espiritual, na pitografia, pintando as energias que os irmãozinhos que estão lá, que vão em busca de socorro.
The pictography is a complement of the spiritual work, and I feel useful doing this. I think that when we believe we're helping others, we are actually helping ourselves. And that's what I am feeling lately.
Are you collaborating with the spiritual help since a long time? Because you are young.
Doing something to help others, I am being much more helped than helping those who come here for help. I stopped for a while because of many other things that come with youth. Sometimes when we think we are doing all right, we are in fact doing all wrong. I got lost. I lost faith. Got mad at those I thought were good. I even asked if God really exists. It happened until I had a premature baby girl. Then she died. To tell you the truth, losing my baby daughter was a great example of life to me. I think she came to make me stronger and to help me face life in a different way.
Did your parents influence you to go back to the spiritual help when you detached from that? They forced you into something?
When I was out of the spiritual work and acting against what I was taught, my father gave me a message from the benefactor entity saying that it was time for me to come back. I said that I did not want to go there because that was not my environment anymore. Then that same entity asked my father to tell me that if I did not go there for love, I would definitely go for the pain. And it was exactly what happened. I went back to ask for help in another way. I can say that the process of evolution is painful. Spiritual growth is painful, but I also have to respect my own time. And that's it. I believe that by helping others, I am actually being helped.
How do you pick up the pictographics?
I feel like I know the one whose energies I am picking up through pictography. Sometimes I want to talk during the work because I felt something very strong when the person is passing by. But I just hold on to not saying anything to the person. Some other times I start drawing and suddenly look at somebody. Right away, I know that the pictograph is for that person. Most of the time, I ask my father to give it to that person.
Mrs. A.V., you also said about the institution that you were asked to to start with, in a very distant place from where you live in Brasilia, and difficult to get in there, difficult place to live because of the poverty and violence in there, and talk to us about the institution.
Knowing that I always was interested in having a place where I could work spiritually, a friend of mine spoke to me about a place in the state of Goiás, close to Federal District. And in this place, we could probably have a space for us to work because it was very cheap. So we went there, but I was not sure about that. We stopped on the field around for a prayer when my spirit mentor said to me, "This is where we are going to serve." And I replied right away, "How come? It's too far for me." Then again, he said, "But it will be right there." With great difficulty, we built the first part of the institution.
And she went there and she took the space to build this institution. And little by little, with a lot of sacrifice, as she said, you see that they could do something. And they started working spiritually in there, helping the spirits.
We also took our time to help the several brothers and sisters killed in the city and thrown there as a clandestine cemetery. I saw them every day knocking our door for help. They were lost and revolted spirits desperately seeking a house of prayers to help them. We prayed, talked to them, helped them on their emotional and astral bodies treatment.
Mediums can also help only the spirits. A spirit, for example, especially spirits who are suffering for disease or for problems and traumas that caused their death. And they are suffering too much, and they really suffer. For example, somebody is living a regular life. Let's say a young man like 30 years old, well educated, have his job, everything is working well, and he's doing his part well, everything is fine. And he has a car accident and he dies. A young man doing everything he wanted, or he fought for that, and he died. First of all, he sees himself, because when you die, you leave your physical body, and your astral body is a copy of your physical body, and you go to astral world. And he sees himself. He doesn't believe he's dead. But a tape recording keeps playing on his mind, showing the accident, showing everything. And he is confused. He doesn't know if he's dead. He doesn't believe in that. But something is wrong. Something is different. He feels the pain, or he sees blood on himself. Because it doesn't go like you die, everything will be okay, and you go to the other side, and things are all right. No. If you do not accept your death, you feel the same thing. If you lost a leg, your leg, you will not have your leg. If you lose a hand, you will not see your hand. That's why this tape record continues, and you feel bad because you are under pain. You see your body like that, and you don't understand you are dead. You are suffering, but you do not know where you are. While he is being taken care of with that magnetic mess, because when the medium works the mediumship, bringing from the cosmos of different vibratory frequencies, transform that, mix that with the vital energy, and then transform the different vibratory frequencies into magnetic mass. That magnetic mass involves the spirit who is suffering and calm him down make him understand, sometimes with sadness, and he's bring to a place where he will be taken care of, and helps. You have no idea of how much it helps.
Most of them came back to us to thank us for the help and clarification of the spiritual life.
Pelo esclarecimento que foi acolhido naquela casa.
They also found a concentration of slaves, because long time ago that place was a farm with a lot of slaves. So those who were attached to that place, personalities or spirits, believed they were still living there. They were attached to diseases, or, remember what Dr. Lacerda said, they are attached to diseases or to problems that caused their death. Those who were tied up in there, they were without food, they were without water, and they died under pain. They were still having that pain. It's normal, it's not abnormal. So she said that she started working there and helping with the obsession and helping all the spirits, and they were all happy.
At the institution, the House of Love and Hope, I have been assisting my wife as much as I can. It was quite difficult to make it happen and start the spiritual care to those there beyond the line of poverty. I help her in management and also with spiritual work. We feel happy for accomplishing a little bit at a time and for doing something useful for them. And here I am, following my wife and assisting her on the places where we go. I am happy with the spiritual work we do. I think that's what God expects from us.
Para o bem, amar o próximo.
Because faith alone, without the work, is dead.
I dedicate my life to my family, my house.
Casa, não trabalho fora para ganhar dinheiro, só trabalho no centro social, assim, em ajuda
And
as
to assisting others through my mediumship as much as I can.
Né, ao controle da alma, da depressão, da insônia, das perturbações espiritual, porque tem muito irmãozinho que
Especially those who suffer from spiritual matters as I did.
And let's talk a little bit about apometry.
eu estou estudando muito apometria. Eu descobri que a apometria é mais fácil, entendeu? De ajudar aqueles irmãozinhos mais do que na desobsessão. Eu, a Reneuza e a Rose estamos dedicando muito com a apometria.
Today you are working with apometry also. You work in different areas of spiritual help. And with this example from this lady, is still many people do not accept the work of mediumship and do not accept to hold hands together, the science and spirit science. Do you really think that it is only the human beings who do that? Of course not. There are those hidden persuaders that we don't see them, but they exist. And from there they influence people not to accept that, because they do not want people to understand and to evolve. They want people stupid and blind. And if we are blind, we can accept a lot of things that we don't understand. We can do a lot of things that we do not understand. That's why they influence us negatively, because they want to keep us in darkness. Medium, sensitive people, and psychiatrists, they work with astral body, not with the physical body, because the astral body is the one that goes to the astral world. They live in there, because the one who feels is the astral body, not the physical body. Your passions is with the astral body. Your vices are with your astral body. That's why when you die, they come together to the astral world. So these three categories of professionals or people work with astral bodies. Only mediums, together with the spirit doctors, they help physical body, they help people who have problems with spirits, who have problems with personalities, or who have health problems. They help etheric body, and they help astral bodies. Let's talk a little bit about that. Mediums with the spirit doctor, they help etheric body. Etheric body is like this. Your physical body, your etheric body, they are attached. From head to your feet, they're attached. The etheric body, it is on the dimension of energy, energetic dimension. It is energy. And the nature of the etheric body is fluidic, almost material. The etheric body supplies the physical body with energy. And a great number of diseases are in the etheric body. And they will pass to the physical body. From the etheric body where they are, they pass to physical body. And many problems that are about to come to the physical body, but it is detected before the spirit doctors together with mediums can heal that here before it goes to this area. They heal. So the etheric body, for example, if the physical body has a health matter, physical problem, but the medicine, the traditional medicine cannot do anything anymore. For example, heart problems. And there, Dr. Lacerda has that, he helped people like that with apometry, working with apometry. And these laws and this knowledge, it is brought by himself and the team that worked with him for more than 25 years. So the physical body, when the traditional medicine cannot do anything anymore for the physical body, the mediums together with the spirit doctors can do that on the etheric body. And the physical body is supplied with that surgery or something. If your child, for example, had infantile paralysis, cannot walk anymore, that can be done on the etheric body with machines. They put machines on the leg or on the parts of the physical body that is affected. And this physical body will get supplied with this one. And the child can be okay. Or if it is a heart problems, any problem that can be done spiritually speaking, it is done right on the etheric body with doctors and mediums, because the mediums have that magnetic mass and everything. Mediums can also work on the astral bodies. The astral bodies, we talk about spirits and personalities. So if the mediums together with the doctors can help the spirits only, which means only astral body, can help people who have problems with the spirits, no matter what kind of problems, can help people who have problems with personalities, negative resonance with personality, or anything that comes together, mediums together with the spirit doctors can help. So you see how great is to be a medium, especially when it comes with simplicity and humility. Pride or vanity or egotism can harm, can mix with the evil ones who are waiting for an opportunity to influence negatively that kind of work. Because since the beginning of the world, mediums have always been sacrificed because the hidden persuaders from the other side or from this side don't want us to know about that. They don't want us to understand that because they don't want us to evolve consciously and spiritually. They don't. So they do everything to keep us ignorant, to keep us away from evolution. Let's see what Dr. Lacerda says about mental imbalances. He was a medical doctor, and at the same time, he helped people with the spirit problems and with personality problems. So he is the one who could understand well because he was in the two levels of understanding. He says, mental imbalances are pathological alternations of psychism. They are the result of a degenerative state of the mental faculties with diverse etiologies. Mental disorders can be the consequences of long obsessive processes, or it can be a disorder of self-obsessed animistic phenomena.